Hey, welcome to the Social Grenade Talk Show. And today we are visiting with Josh and Matt. Matt is like amazing. Josh is amazing. We actually found each other by accident. And I really just vibed with these guys, and we just really had some common ground that we were both like looking to nurture and dig up and find like where's all of the good things that we can do in this space. And so hello, Matt. Hello, Josh. Josh, tell me where you got started in this space. And I know that we're talking about video and creative.
So I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like me and Matt have known each other since I was 8 years old,
Oh,
which is wild. I know he looks exactly the same.
that's funny.
Um, with creative, I guess it kind of got started. I was always into drawing and stuff like that when I was a kid, like making my own comic books and all that kind of stuff. And then, as I got older, I started with the music. The music is really where the connection kind of is at because I went into the military for about a decade, and then a guy named Joey Yakas who I kept in touch with him for whatever reason. There's no reason why I should have kept this relationship, but I did. And then, once I got out of the military, I bounced around a little bit, was unsure what I was going to do. And I just happened to, I sent him a song or something just to spam it like I was doing. Cause I was like, everybody listen to my new mixtape. But, but it was like, he then responded and was like, come work for me. I was like, no. But then after 2 months, I was like, all right.
I need
And
a job.
yeah, my dad was kind of pressuring me. He was like, look, dude, because I mean, I get disability, but it just like it wasn't. I don't know. I was kind of settling at that point, and I was just so afraid of picking a direction. That was kind of what kept me like that. But I did a lot of soul searching in that 3 years too. That in between time. So
There's a book out there. It's called Outwitting the Devil, and it is really kind of cool. I think it's a Napoleon Hill book. And in there, he talks about drifting. And that's kind of like what you explained right there, like just drifting. Like I'm not really seeking out what my purpose is or what fires my soul. I'm just drifting.
yep.
And it's a really interesting read. And like when you said that, it just brought that to mind.
Yeah, it was a trying time. Like that was one of the hardest things I've been through in my life is that transition from military to civilian. And I think it was just because I mean, obviously I went in when I was 18, so I learned how to be an adult.
You learned
So it
how
was
to
like
be
a
a
double
man.
whammy. Yeah, a double whammy. Like you have to grow up quick, but then it's a very different world, the civilian world and the military world. And I felt I was embarrassed that I was almost 30 years old and I didn't know I didn't know how to be an adult in the civilian
Right.
world.
Right.
But I had to get through that, and there was a lot of trials and tribulations during that time, but we made it through. And funny enough, like Matt wasn't even like was with Joey. He wasn't even working with Joey. He just happened to be helping out on set that day. And Matt was running audio, which is what I ended up doing most of the time. And we were trying to get Matt to come full time because he was just way fat. There was a lot of other reasons. But we were trying to basically convince him and like, hey, come on, dude, just come on over here. And then, sure enough, it ended up being just me, him, and Joey for a long time. And then now it's just the two of us.
Uh, uh, uh,
If
uh.
we can make it, if we try. Matt, what about you, turd?
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
I'm a turd now, apparently. I don't. So basically, I mean, it's kind of the same story. I came from music. I actually met Josh when he was 8 years old, like he said. Whenever I was used to be a skateboarder, so it kind of like we used to film ourselves skateboard, and then I kind of grew
Mm.
out of that, and then basically in like 2003, 2004, I owned a record label, and I had a bunch of
What
art.
were you like? Were you like 12 then when you had that record label?
No, I was like 19, 20.
Matt's been 40 since for the last 30 years.
And, so we had a bunch of artists who needed music videos at the time, and it just wasn't a thing. It just there wasn't a bunch of kids running around with cameras, and I was like, hey, I know how to operate a camera. I did it when I was younger, and so I went and bought a camera and started just making music videos, and here I am today. It just slowly morphed into doing music videos for artists to working with bigger brands and TV shows and everything in between.
I think about like whenever you say that and you put the years in there too. I think about it as a camcorder. Is that
It
what it
was.
was?
That's what it was back in the day. For sure.
So for all of
Yeah,
you people who don't know what a camcorder is, you literally like popped a VHS tape in there and you recorded on top of that clean VHS tape.
that's wild
So
that there's
my age of-
that's where we are right now. Like people don't know what that is.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And
yeah.
that's probably 2 decades of technology earlier than crap I know. So, I'm just saying, like, I was like so excited when I was like, oh my gosh, like I could have a thing where I can record stuff. That's awesome. And by the time I bought my first camcorder, it was obsolete. The battery would go dead and you couldn't replace them. Nobody had them. And so I got to shoot it until the battery went dead. And I was like, well, there's that. I never got to use it again.
So many dance recitals got taped over, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, there's some stuff. Well, that's a story for another day. Don't borrow somebody else's camcorder.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Similar situation.
Okay, so your guys' creative stuff started early, and then so for everybody who doesn't know you, because that's tell us what you do. Like, tell us where your bread and butter comes from. Like, who do you serve and how do you serve them?
Josh, we'll let you lead the way.
Why he does this? He always does this.
Yeah, well, everybody's got to have an alpha.
I know, man. That's right, beta boy. So we are the Film Legends. We specialize in video advertisements. Particularly, one of the things that separates us from our competitors is the ability to do video advertisement, like music video advertisements, and not just any music video advertisements. They're actually good songs. We do parodies. That's a one that always resonates with people because obviously it's nostalgia. You're triggering nostalgia. And then comedy. I mean, the best way to get people to open up and to trust you and build that rapport quickly is with humor, making people laugh and making them feel warm and fuzzy and all that stuff. So, I fell in love with doing that because it really was hard to transition from music to that because you have to be very what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional with what you do, how you do it, way you say it. But once I got that dialed in, I mean, it's just fun. It's another way for people in the music industry, which is what I was aspiring to do. It's just a way to make money off of what you love to do. In fact, my little brother is going to be interning for us like within the next week. It's going to be awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Matt, what do you think about, like, do anything to add to that as far as, what you do and how you do it?
I would think, like some of our like ideal type customers, right, are small businesses. We're not really looking to break into the corporate world. Small businesses help
yet.
Who they don't really have a direction of where they need to go, and they need help with that direction. I think that we're very capable of leading them onto that right direction, and hopefully, get their name out there so people know what they do and why they do it.
Yeah, one of the things I always say is like we can put a visual to what you're trying to tell and speak to your customers. Like that's one thing I'm good. I'm not that I know more words than anybody else. I just know how to say the same thing more different ways than a lot of people. That's my gift. So
also just to say, we I think that we kind of found our niche, and our niche is cars,
automotive.
We have really figured that out, I think. So
well, and what's funny is that it's such a multifaceted part of the industry. And I was thinking about, because I know we talked about women in automotive, and that conference is coming up. And back in the day, we used to have at the end of a conference, when we were shooting a promo for like the next year, and we would know what next year's theme was, we would have the attendees like step onto the stage, and then they would lip sync like 3 to 4 words of a song that was going to be the theme song for like the next year. And then it was just this hodgepodge mixture that got put together for the promotional stuff that was going next year. And everybody was always looking for themselves in that. And so they loved it. Everybody loves, even if they feel stupid for 3 seconds, they're okay. If I have to feel stupid for 3 minutes, that's a problem.
Right.
That's uncomfortable, but I can feel stupid for 3 to 4 seconds and be okay. And so I think about things like that and adding fun stuff like that. Even the women in the automotive space are, very willing to participate and to consume content like you guys put out. So it's not just like male dominated. The women eat it up as well.
Right. So I mean, it's very much I get nervous still every time that I'm in front of the camera. Like that's the biggest thing I think we've run into is people they don't want to be on camera, or they do, but they don't actually want to be actually stand in front of the camera, because it is very different and it's intimidating, but like you just got to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm nervous every time. What
we found was, because for a couple of years in a row, like these 400 or 500 people would be at this Women in Automotive conference, but then maybe the next year, like they didn't come back. And so when we started doing that as like the outro for the event, they would feel stupid if they were on that video hyping the next year's event and they weren't there.
Yeah.
They would
I'm
feel
sure it
like,
made them feel involved too. Like that's
yeah,
being
yeah,
a
like
part of
I'm part
something.
of this movement. So it's really cool.
I get it.
It's funny because there's a guy out there. I don't know if you're familiar with him. And if you're not, probably go get familiar with him. And he goes by Russ Flips Whips.
I know who that is.
Okay, so he is really coming on strong in the video era of automotive and renting himself out to dealerships to do video and video trainings for them. And I'll tell you that if you think about how many dealerships are actually like, oh, well, Russ has already got this market cornered. Okay, just Kia alone in the United States has 700 rooftops. Just
Wow.
Kia.
Yeah.
Okay. And we won't even consider them a major brand, right? They're not one of the big three, and they
Right.
have 700 rooftops. So there's always plenty of business to go around.
For sure.
Every time because I don't live in a world of competition. I live in a world of, collaboration. And there's so much abundance out there right now that even if there are other people in my space, which nobody is in Social Grenade space, but even if there were, there's so much business to go around that I couldn't keep up with all of it. If Kia tomorrow called and said, hey, Robin, we're going to give you all 700 stores, I would probably shit myself because I'd be like, okay, because I think about like the logistics. How do I onboard 700 dealerships? How do I serve 700 dealerships? How do I make sure all of the stuff runs? How do I bill 700 dealerships? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so there's so much already. So don't ever like get in your head and go, oh, there's people in this space. There's no you. There's only one of you guys, right? There's only one of the film legends. And then whatever unique you bring to the table, there's a whole mix of people out there that are looking for that level of content. And content is king, right? I listen when I'm working out, I listen to other people's podcasts. And I was like, Gary Vee, I've been following Gary Vee. I met him for the first time in 2016 at a social media marketing world event. And a couple of times since then, I'm actually on one of his podcasts because they recorded an event that I was at, and I was smart enough to know where to sit in the audience to be the first person on the mic.
That's dope.
Literally first person on the mic.
That's my dog.
I was like, okay. I told Beverly, I'm like, no. I don't know who's sitting in those seats right there, but move them. We're sitting on the end, on the aisle. I know where they're going to set the mics up at, and I'm going to be. And I knew whatever, because he usually talks for about 10 minutes, and then he goes straight to Q&A. And I was like watching my clock, like it's 9:45, and I'm like making the move. I'm like got my feet ready to stand up and pound. I'm ready, man. But
I brought my own question, Gary. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I was listening to his podcast the other day about content, and I'm going to tell you something that he said that was like it, he does Gary V4s or whatever. He brings in 4 entrepreneurs. They pay to sit at a table with him. They all get so many minutes around the table, right?
I've seen that with the banana ball guy.
Yeah, yeah. And so one of them was he sold specialized life insurance. He lives in Salt Lake City or whatever. And the idea he gave him was so profound that I'm like, I'm stopping it. I'm jumping off the treadmill and I'm like, Alexa, set a reminder for blah, 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 blah. Because I want to go back and revisit this, but it would be so good for you guys too. And so what they did was, what he said to do was, he's like, you know what? I know that you can sell everywhere in the United States. He goes, but you're in Salt Lake City. He goes, what I would do if I were you, he goes, is I would book a place that's a pretty decent restaurant with a great visual, right? Like it does, you don't have like the kitchen coming in and out or whatever. You have a great backdrop. And he said, and put on a seminar on the things that they need to know about life insurance, or about how to get better rates on life insurance, whatever it is that is the added benefit for the audience. And so for you guys, it would probably be how to make better video content at your dealership, right? He goes, and it's not about what you're teaching. He goes, set up the entire thing to video it. He goes, have them sign a waiver that they agree to be on camera. If they don't agree, blur their heads out or do whatever.
Right.
And he goes, and then now that you've done this, like you got probably 3 camera angles of doing this right here. Your audio is great. You're teaching the seminar. He goes, now you have content to push out into ad format. He goes, and drop it. He goes, and it looks like a shit ton of people were there listening to you as the industry experts on how to do it with with a small blurb of a call to action at the end of that seminar. That is hey, if this all seems overwhelming and you just want us to do it for you, we're so stupid affordable. It's crazy. There's no reason why you wouldn't want to.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm literally fervently taking notes going, blah, 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 blah. And so I thought it was great value add. And I think for you guys, exposure is the thing. And so can you get, like, we have a bank here in town. We literally went into research mode as soon as I brought that back to the table. We have a bank here in town that if you bank there, they have community centers in the bank that are free if you're a banking member there, and you don't have to pay for them, right? And they'll hold 40 people with 40 seats. And I'm like, fantastic. Why don't we do that thing for free? And then all I've got to worry about is catering some snacks in or whatever,
Right.
and then getting all the cameras and everything set up. So I think that things like that for exposure are really good, because you guys are fantastic, and your only limitation is your exposure, right? You have to have more eyeballs on you.
For sure.
And for one thing that comes to mind whenever I talk about that, because I teach and train on social media all the time, is whatever you're posting right now about you and about your business and behind the scenes and bloopers and shit like that, and where you guys came from and your military life and all of that stuff, you have to 10x it.
Yeah.
You have to 10x the content that you have going out right now to get your awareness up there. And then everything has to have a call to action. You have to make those people do a thing. Like when you were in the military, Josh, like I would probably I would create a tribe of people, right? And I would go, you know what? I was in the military for a long time. Here's a photo of me, right? I was in the military for this amount of time whatsoever. And even tell that long form story. I learned everything in the military about being a man, but I didn't learn anything about being a man in civilian life. Drop me a picture of you in uniform down below too, right? That call to action is asking you to drop that photo.
Engagement.
And now you've got a tribe of people who are just like you.
Right.
And then now you want to fine tune that. So now that you've created a tribe and the Facebook algorithm has picked up that these military dudes are liking and following your stuff, that same post, I would probably throw a $10 boost behind it, right? And I'm not talking about on a page. I'm talking about on your profile. Convert your profile to a professional dashboard if you haven't already. Throw a $10 boost behind it. And you're going to be looking for, you can fine tune that audience too, that you're looking for these people right here. And I would probably say that I'm looking for people in the military and who are automotive, right? Because you can even pick that.
Right.
Target them, send that out to them, and then think about what your next post is going to be, because you just created a tribe that Facebook is going to continue to feed your next content. So what will that next content be? It's got to be something that has to do with transitioning from military to real life, and now I'm serving the automotive space with video, with engaging musical video content, whatever it is you want to put in there, is how I live my life. Message me if you want more info, right? And so, and then the next one will probably be, these are the results that we've seen whenever we went into this. So now you've got military, and then you just weeded them down to military automotive, right? Because now the military automotive will be the ones that are engaging with you. And then your next post is to the automotive and go, here's the results that we saw at Clement when we started posting these types of blah, blah, blah videos. And then you're taking them down a social media journey where you want them to be. And then plan out your next thing, right? So here's Matt when he had his record label. He was 19 years old, blah, 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 right? And so there's old rockers that are literally general managers or dealer principals at dealerships. And so what they were before and what they are now, when they're 50 is different, right? Just like what Matt was when he was 19 versus what Matt is now is different. And so we can speak to who they were, and then we bring them forward with us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the veteran thing is always something that it's like you quickly connect and you have something to talk about. And it's, like, I mean, the first guy the guy that basically brought Clement to us, he was a former Marine. Like him and I connected off that, instantly. Right. So you're absolutely right. And one of the things I think for us, like the biggest thing that I struggle with personally when it comes to content is, like, I had the same situation when I was in the military. I was a helicopter mechanic, and I had a lot of friends that were corn-fed white boys that wanted to work on cars on the weekend. I'm like, no, dude, I don't want to work on the weekend. That's exactly what I do all day long. So it's like, it does get tricky when it comes to getting, like, producing the content that I want to produce, because it's like, man, like, sometimes I feel like I'm working nonstop. But that's kind of the game for a little bit, especially
Right.
when my baby boy is young to where he won't remember. Now is the time.
Well,
So
and it's a strategy, right? So you and Matt need to sit down together and then go, what messaging do we want to get out? And then that's on your schedule, just like you're a client.
right.
Okay. Because I know the hardest thing for me is to think about what content does Robin want to put out? Like what
Yeah.
messaging, like I'm getting ready to head to NADA, and I'm speaking I have a podcast that's scheduled live at the expo for myself on someone else's, on Dealer E-Processes podcast. And I'm like, it's on my calendar, but I haven't done anything to promote it. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like they sent me a graphic yesterday, like they just sent me a graphic yesterday and I posted it on LinkedIn, and then I pushed it out to my graphic designer and said, make me 4 more posts that are more me about this event. And I need them for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, I just like went through the gamut. And so then I will, like, in my planner, then I've got to mark it out and go promote that you're going to be on this podcast. Because if you will promote, so like this, like if you'll promote that you're on this podcast right here, more people will have you on their podcast because you're helping to expand their show.
Right.
Right. So when I'm on someone else's show, I have to be very mindful to go, hey, it's my job to promote this thing.
Right.
And to let people know that I'm doing this thing. And so for you guys, literally, it just has to be a strategy. Matt, like you and Matt have to decide, first of all, the direction you're going. And then map out, like, what does that look like? Who are we talking to? How will we get in their news feed? How do we stay in their news feed? And then I would build out like 4 different personas of the tribes that you want to be in, that you are authentically connected to, right? So you are authentically connected to the military, right? Matt is authentically connected to the music industry. What other ones, right? So, are you a girl dad? What are the things that you can attract into, your world, and then go, okay, now this will help me get into. You just have to look at step 1, step 2, and step 3. This is who I am, and this is who I can connect with now. And then of those 200 people that connect with me, how many of them are in the automotive space or know someone in the automotive space? And that may be 30.
Yeah.
Right. But that's 30 eyeballs you didn't have before. And then of those 30, how many of them are in a position to make a decision? And that may come down to 10. But where did you have 10 leads before?
Right. Yeah. I think it's about being very intentional with things, like not just kind of hoping things will fall into place. But go ahead. Right. Were you saying something, Matt?
We started talking about this literally last week, that like we need to step our podcast game and talk and get out here in the world. And I'm the same way. It's like I have so much content on my phone of just me filming and things I've done and stuff like that. I just don't post it. It's just so difficult sometimes to turn off work and then personal life and then try to turn it back on to the post and put myself out there.
Well, the cool thing is that if you've already converted to a professional dashboard and you're going to post this stuff, and you're going to use your phone to do it, you can schedule it. So you can literally sit down one day a month and schedule out a month worth of posts to go. Like you could literally schedule them out.
Another thing that I'm not trying, like my Facebook, for instance, I constantly got to delete people in order to add or engage with people on there. And I'm just, and Joey, our partner, said it best, where it was like, you know what, you just need to delete all your high school friends, everybody you don't just delete them all.
I'm going to tell you the easiest trick to do this, right? So every day Facebook serves up whose birthday it is today. And if I don't care if it's their birthday, I delete them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so there may be 3 to 10 every day that I'm like, don't make the cut, because like I haven't talked to you. You're not even active on Facebook. And I literally just go through my birthdays every day, and it takes me like 15 seconds. Nope. Nope.
That's like Instagram, for instance. It will only let you delete so many people a day before it like throttles you down, where it will not allow you to delete anybody. It drives me crazy, because like if I got to like delete somebody to add somebody, it's like
Instagram doesn't have those limits.
It does, though. It has the amount of limits to people you can follow, 7,500.
That you can follow?
Yeah.
I don't follow 7,500 damn people.
Yeah.
I don't even like that many people.
I don't want to have to trim down my 16 friends. Like 12 of them are pending. You know what I mean? Like we haven't even accepted it yet. So
And then Facebook is what, 5,500, I think, or 5,000.
5,000.
I don't know those caps. Like it's I feel lesser than the
Yeah.
fact that I don't know that those are caps.
They
I mean,
are.
it's a problem because it's like, you're constantly fighting with that, and you can only delete so many people at a time. And
Well, the cool thing is though, is that they changed it whenever they moved to that professional dashboard, because it used to be like you would just be capped when you got to 5,000 friends, you were capped. But now they can, if you're capped, they can follow you, right? So where I may have 49.99 friends, I'll have 7,500 followers.
yeah.
So, well, I mean, I've been doing this for a hot fucking minute.
Yeah, but
I'm very particular.
What you said is like, I think that is what I've been trying to do lately is like slowly clean that up and try to get more of the people that I'm trying to engage with. I mean, no offense, but I really don't care about the person I went to middle school with. I'm trying to engage with people on there that in my business.
Well,
so.
and I'll tell you another thing that I do too is that if I get a friend request from somebody, if we don't have 100 friends in common, I don't accept it.
Wow. Okay.
For real,
That's crazy.
because
You accepted mine, and I don't even have 100
because
friends.
I knew you before. Like I accepted you because I knew you, but if I don't know them, and we have to have like 100 friends in common,
sure.
And then I know they're in my circle of people. Like I got one today from somebody there, and I'll tell you, I did accept that one because they work for the Elliott Group. So I will go through and research and see who they are and go, okay, they probably because I teach monthly a class for Andy Elliott, and so I'm picking up these people that weren't like they may work for Elliott, but they're not in automotive. They may work on the solar side.
Right.
And so because of that, we don't have 100 friends in common because everybody that is on my Facebook page is automotive. So if you ever want to go see who you need to follow, you just go look at my friends list and start clicking.
Understood.
Don't think it does.
Challenge accepted.
How do you feel about LinkedIn? Are you involved in LinkedIn at all?
I am 100%. There's not a social platform I'm not on. I mean, if it's in my name, I kind of have to do the damn thing.
Well, for sure. Yeah. I mean, LinkedIn is one of those ones that I feel like, 5-6 years ago, it was just all spam. It was all bots, and out of nowhere, it seemed to like kind of switch, and it's not that anymore. So,
anyways, I was busy looking at my LinkedIn. I was looking to see how many connections I had. And I couldn't pull it up on my phone, but I think I have over 6,000. But it is a great place to be B2B, right? That's B2B. You're a business, they're a business. You should have a business page on there. And then you should be constantly posting to that business page stuff that's relevant, that speaks to that audience, because they're not there just looking to see what cat videos you have. They're there looking for solutions to whatever issues they have.
For sure.
It's a different conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I've been aware of LinkedIn, but I just recently like started looking at it as a tool, and it kind of like opened because, the last time I looked at LinkedIn, I think I was like over a decade ago, and I had no reason to. And then just recently, I just kind of looked on it. I was like, oh, wow. Or even something I'll do is I'll go on. I'm not the person that invented this, but like going on Indeed and looking for, companies that are posting for a social media marketer or so whatever. And then, I know they're in need. It's like, I know I can help them kind of situation.
I love that.
And I wanted to kind of mention too, is like, there's a lot of companies out there who are like looking for the 20-year-old college student is, the social media guru that's going to come in and change their company's life. And a big thing that they don't understand is that it's just not a one person job. This is a huge timeline of people to like really dial this stuff in. And I think that like that's a good way for like what we've been thinking, is going after these companies who are looking for that 20-year-old kid that, and some of the, you see like sometimes like, oh, we'll pay them $100,000 is like cool. But like, I don't think that you're going to pay a 20-year-old kid who has no experience in this business $100,000 a year to change the face of your company.
Well, when you think about it, and there's boomers that are making this decision, and I can say that because I am a boomer, right? And so there's boomers that are making this decision like, oh, they should know everything about social. They're on it all day long, but they're on it as consumers.
Right.
Yep.
They're not on it as strategic creators.
Yeah, anybody can scroll, but it's about getting the stuff, and it's about getting the right things in front of the right people at the right time. And there's a lot that goes into it. Like I know a lot of people like, the fun thing, like, it's easy to, the bare minimum you should be doing. I mean, you should be posting every day, pretty much, as much as you can, I guess you could say. But it's like you should, follow the trends, and whatever's that's what you should, the bare minimum you should be doing. If you don't want to think about, what, if you start to panic about what you should be doing, like, just do what everybody else is, and then you'll eventually, like, once you start getting repetitions, you'll creative juices will start flowing, and you'll find the next trend. That's what it really is. Because, like, by the time it gets to you, I mean, it's pretty much already passed. But
So I was watching a video by I don't know if you follow Omar El Takrori. I don't know that I say his name right, but
I don't even know how to spell that.
yeah, I will send it to you. But
Awesome.
he's a big YouTuber, and he used to work for Think Media.
Okay.
And I literally stopped and took notes too. And he said, because he started being very intentional about his content in 2024, and it moved him to seven-figure income.
I think I know you're talking about the guy with the yellow glasses, yellow sun, like.
No, this guy is Indian.
Oh yeah, no, not the same guy.
I think you guys can see him. Yep.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I have seen him before then.
Okay. So here was the formula that he put out yesterday was so monthly, 4 long form videos monthly that are long form, meaning at least 8 minutes long. And then obviously you can upload the audio to podcast.
Right.
IG post 25 to 30 time feed posts, and that can be reels, longer videos, images, carousels, whatever. Post at least 2 times a day on IG stories. And I would say this goes Facebook or IG and then send at least 12 emails a month. Right? Like, that's something that I don't even do. Like, my company does it. Like, they send out company emails, but I don't personally send out any emails that go, hey, this is what Robin's doing this month. I'm going to be I've got a shit ton of contacts. I've been in the business for a hot minute. Maybe they want to know what Josh and Matt are up to.
One of the things that you said that like, it was like a boom, like, light bulb moment for me, was when you said to not post whatever you post on Facebook. Don't just have it post the same exact thing on Instagram. It's like, dude, you got to stagger them at least.
Right.
That's something that I stuck with.
I hate that so much whenever I go to check out people's social media and it's all the same on the same day. It's like, why would I go to any other social site than one?
Right. You're not giving me a reason to come check out what you're doing on Instagram if it's the same thing you're doing on Facebook.
Right. And for myself, like my personal content, whatever, I don't post the same stuff to Instagram that I post on Facebook that I post to LinkedIn personally. So I'm literally, for myself, creating 3 to 4 different types of content on the regular. I'm going to tell you, like, I know you guys are busy and you get like, oh my God, we're so burnt out. I'd like to do this thing. I'm doing that, as well as running 3 companies,
right?
As well as I bought land in Costa Rica. I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I work with the land developers down there and get this place being started to build?
Right.
Someone move a piece of dirt for me, as well as I'm married as well. I have grown kids with grandkids that would like to see me come visit them and not have my laptop on my lap, because I know they've said that. I'm like, I feel I have the guilt, like I'm sitting there working and I'm supposed to be visiting them. I'm like, shit, man, the hustle is real. I know that
all too well.
Yeah, the hustle is real, and it's like there's times when I'm like, okay, this child really only has like a 30-minute attention span anyway, so I'm going to put this away for 30 minutes. We're going to play until he's bored with me, and then I can go back to doing this thing.
Right.
Yeah. You said something about how you don't post the same thing on Instagram as on Facebook. And I'm sure you've done this research, so you would know, and this is a personal question about it. From Instagram, if you were to post like on a story on Instagram and then you just push it forward to Facebook, does it throttle it back on Facebook or throttle it down on Instagram because you're not staying on that particular Instagram?
Well, and I'll tell you, it's because you're not being intentional on there, right? So I don't have that toggled on so that if I post it on Instagram, it pushes to Facebook. I don't have it toggled on because I don't want to be chasing down where I'm having a conversation. So if I'm having a conversation on Instagram about this thing right here, I don't want to have to be looking about where am I need to comment back or go check on comments, right? Because I know I'm starting a conversation. Where am I having it at?
Yeah.
And so that's the difficult part. That's a difficult thing for me on LinkedIn, right? And luckily I've got my notifications on LinkedIn that come across all my devices. I'll say, so-and-so said blah, 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 blah. Oh, thank God, because I'm not going to go check it. Now I'll check Facebook probably 70 times a day.
Yeah.
Because I'll start I made a post the other day, if you saw it, like if you're on a 15-hour flight, like which seat do you want to sit in? and like one of them had Aaron Rodgers in it, one had Pat Mahomes, the other had like the Manning brothers, and you'd get the center seat. I mean, it was so fun. Then it had the Kelsey brothers, and you get the center seat. It was, and then the basketball players, nobody picked LeBron, and I don't even know who the other one was.
Like this.
And yeah, and then like, but for like the first 20 minutes, I had 40 comments on that, and I comment back to every reply. By the end of 20 hours, like when I woke up the next morning, there's like 120 comments on there, and so like I do my best to reply as live as possible.
Right.
So if I had posted that here and on Instagram, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I going to toggle back and forth?
Yeah, and it would feel very disingenuous because you're having a hard time remembering, and you feel like you're not actually paying attention.
Yeah.
And yeah, that makes total sense.
And so I try to not cross post. And I'll tell you that I know there's a huge audience on Instagram, and the thing is that the communication piece for me on it is a lot less. It feels like to me, I have more conversations on Facebook with people than I do. I have more comments and reactions back on Facebook than I do on Instagram.
I think my Instagram is mainly DMs.
Yeah.
You know,
well, it feels very more about the content than it does about the conversation on Instagram. Like and I think it's made the way that it looks and the way it's laid out. It's not very like you only see the top 2 or whatever it is. Like, yeah, I definitely, and I think they're just very different audiences too, as well. Like the people that are using them and what they use them for, just like you were saying, it's like you have to know, where you're going for the people that you're looking for, the specific people. Like, all right, well, where are they going to be on here? Are they going to be on, we'll see if TikTok is still around. But like, I think I'm even too old for TikTok. I'm gonna say it.
It's aging up.
It is.
Just like everything else aged up. It's aging up as well.
You have like 5 days left with it, so
we'll see. We'll see.
Mr. Beast is trying to buy it.
Yeah.
Huh? Who is?
Mr. Beast?
Oh,
yeah.
That would be
cool. So is Elon Musk, Here's another question I have for you. Doing the car thing or the automotive thing for the last couple months here, what I've noticed a lot is whenever they are posting content, and it's not even necessarily our content, but just any content, there is so much negativity thrown at them. What do you feel like we know what that is, car dealerships always get like they're the scum of the earth. They get this like bad rep, right? How do you change that?
Well, that has to change with their culture, right? So if they have a culture of a couple things, like if I were their social media manager and I was taking over their social media, one of the things that I would do is I would be going, where are you actually involved in the community? Where are you giving back? What things are you doing? And why are we not seeing that on your social media? Because it's really hard to call somebody scum of the earth whenever they're giving thousands of dollars to the local children's hospital, or when they're donating things to this the youth soccer camp, right? And so what they're not doing is they're not overcoming it with the good stuff that they are doing, or they're actually not doing the good stuff, right? And so then they have to go, okay, we're going to dedicate a budget annually to giving back to our community. And every month may be a different charity that we collect money for. And I'll tell you how silly it is, right? So in the auto industry, let's say that for the month of April, it's Child Abuse Awareness Month, right? And you are going to give to a local children's shelter that takes in abused children. Okay. At the end of the month, a portion of the proceeds of every car sold goes towards the Children's Center of Southwest Missouri. Let's say that's the scenario.
Right.
And along with that, you're doing a toy drive, because every child that gets processed through the Children's Center of Southwest Missouri goes home with a brand new toy. Okay. So during the month, so one of my dealerships did this. So during the month of April, every time that you come into the dealership and bring in a new toy, we'll give you a voucher for a free oil change. Okay. And a portion of the proceeds of every car sold goes towards, we'll write a check at the end of the month for the Children's Center of Southwest Missouri. Okay, so a lot of things happen here. One is there's so much social media opportunity as they bring in a vehicle and just keep filling it up with toys, right? And they keep marking. We've given away 350 oil changes this month. Still get in on it, like blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And so all of that goes into the fact now they're generating more people in their service drive that maybe were not service customers of theirs before.
Yep.
So, and 75% of the people who do service with you will buy from you. So they're generating traffic in the service department. They're putting up goodwill in the community. And then on top of this costs them nothing. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they pack every car in the month of April with, I don't know, $250, right? So every car sold has a pack on it, meaning the customer that buys a car is paying $250 extra on that car that's getting packed in there.
Yeah.
That goes into a special account to cover all the cost of this event of goodwill.
Yeah.
And then at the end, and let's say that they did 250, right? And 150 of that, of each car sold, is what's going to be dedicated to giving back to the Children's Center. The other 100 covers the oil changes that they gave away. So it costs the dealership nothing. It gains them goodwill. And at the same time, it's overcoming, people will say less shit about them
Right.
because they're so involved. And then there's a big award ceremony. The TV cameras come out at the end of the month. They have one of those big Corplast signs. That's a check that they wrote a check for $15,298. I went to the Children's Center of Southwest Missouri, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the video aspect of us loading all of the toys into black trash bags and the whole team loading them up and taking them over to the Children's Center and distributing or putting them in their toy room. All of the salespeople unloading them, putting them into the
Right.
cabinet where they all go. There's so much content there that can be used all year long, right? And it costs them nothing. So the answer to that, Matt, is that they're not doing enough good to outweigh the bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so really it takes a good, strong team to bring it to them and go, look, what do you guys think about this?
Yeah.
Everything you just said makes so much sense. I mean, it's nothing but a win. I mean, there's no loss in that whatsoever. It's a win. It's just having the time and taking the time and the intentionality to actually do it.
Right. Breast cancer awareness heading into October, right? Every salesperson wears pink shirts that month. Everybody, absolutely, every car sold, a portion of that goes to not to the national one, but to whatever local one that helps give away free mammograms, right? You want to promote that thing right there. And for every car sold, there's a pink teddy bear that you can put in your car that you're helping us celebrate Breast Cancer Awareness Month, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, right? They're just not doing enough good to overcome people. I'll just say this. People with challenged credit. I was trying to edit myself. People with challenged credit and had no money down and who have problems buying a car are the fastest people to be online talking about what a horrible experience they did because they got rejection.
Right.
They got rejected. And this was just the last place that rejected them. There was probably 4 before them, but the last one was the one that hurt the most because maybe they gave them the most hope. And so what you're hearing is on the sales side of it, you'll be hearing that rejection come through their voice whenever they're online. And really, we as a company are some of the best at answering those because like you want to listen to the customer and you want to talk to the dealership and you want to go, okay, what happened here? And because the customer says this side of it, right? They only give you this piece of it, but the dealership will tell me, you know what? They had a 420 credit score. We went through 5 co-signers. None of them got approved to be a co-signer. They were 10K flipped in their car and we just couldn't help them. But we did give them some steps when they left to help get their credit repaired. We gave them a number for them to call to get their credit repaired and tell them to come back in 3 months and we would see what we could do to work with them then.
And even if they come back and that comment's still there, it is never
right. And so the dealership tells us that, the customer tells us what pieces of shit we are. And so then our job is to form a response. And it really isn't for that customer. It's really for the other 150 people that are reading that review, deciding whether to do business there. Right. So I would probably structure a response and go, hey, Kelly, we do appreciate that you came in and gave us a shot at trying to get you approved for a nicer, newer vehicle. I wish we could have sent you home in that Kia Sorento. I know your family would have looked great in that. You guys would have been so happy driving that vehicle. Hopefully you'll take some of the tools that we gave you home with you and come back and let us have another shot at it in 3 months. And you don't go, hey, and get your credit fixed. Like you don't say that because that's maligning them. Take some of those tools that I gave you and then come back in 3 months like we suggested and see if we can get it done then.
Yeah, you hit them with I know you are, but what am I? It's not going to do anything.
That requires them to have a strong social media team that can handle all that, especially if they have multiple stores where, they don't remember Kelly from 2 months ago and what she was trying to buy. Like they have no way of so it's about having.
They should though, because it should all be in the CRM and there should be notes in there. Customer came in, we submitted them to 4 different places, were declined, blah, 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 blah. They should all be in their CRM.
But have somebody who's strong enough with the writing skills and
being able to put out fires and things like
Yeah. So we're always really good at SCP agency. We're really good at I mean, we have been because I did it at the dealership. So we're really good at taking her story and their story and then formulating the story that needs to be out there for the public that puts no liability on the dealership, does not skirt anything, and also does not shame that buyer. And you're right, it does take a skill to do that. And then once we get it written, we give it back to the dealership and go, you guys approve this? And they're like, yeah, run with it. Like, great, we post it. And then we move on with our lives. And sometimes it doesn't end there. Sometimes Kelly is still pissed. And Kelly is like, that's all a lie. They told me that. They guaranteed me. They called me, blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, I'm going to tell you, I've seen this happen. Our customers now start fighting for us.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And
That's
it, Kelly. Lace them up.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then our customers start going, I don't know what you're talking about. Like they told me how to get approved. I did all the steps they told me, and I came in and here's a picture of my Kia Forte. Here's my blah, blah, blah. And so, so you just do what you can. There are times whenever the dealership does screw up, right? And you have to somehow say that without getting liability too. Like the service department may have missed something. They left the thing off. It blew the engine, blah, blah, blah. And whatever the thing is. And they were on vacation when they got stranded. And this is a true story. This happened. They were in service 3 different times at this dealership and had something to do with the noise it was making. Anyways, finally, they went on vacation. They were over in Branson, went on vacation, and their wheel actually just fell off. Like, it was a disaster. So, I mean, the dealership was really good. They sprung to action. They drove somebody over there with a loaner vehicle for them and a tow truck to bring their vehicle back. But they were pissed, right? Like, it semi-ruined their vacation. And rightfully so.
We were in Branson.
Yeah. And so it was literally just an apology. You're right. We did ruin your vacation, or that incident did ruin your vacation. We're so sorry that we didn't catch that. Unfortunately, we have in the recent past had to hire actual humans to do the work at the dealership. Right. And if I had some robots and perfection in there, it'd be great. But our humans do make mistakes. I am apologizing as profusely as I can, and we're doing our best to make this up to you because they wanted us to just give them a brand new car.
Yeah, sometimes owning up to it is half the battle.
It's exactly what I was going to say.
It's powerful.
Yeah, but also sometimes you have that customer who's like, "Hey, I want a new car."
Yeah.
It's like, well, it don't quite work like that. So it's
well, kick rocks, Stuart, because you're not getting one. Yeah. Tell Kelly to quit calling up here.
You're stuck in Branson, man. You can't even reach me from there.
You're willing to send a tow truck and send a loaner car to Branson to help them out is a huge step, because I can tell you what, there's a lot of companies out there that might not have done that.
Well, and the thing is that wasn't part of their story, right? So their part of the story was you did blah, 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 blah. And so we can come back and go, you know what? I know that even after we sent the tow truck to pick up your vehicle and gave you a rental or a loaner car to finish your vacation, I know that still had to be stressful for you and your family. We sincerely apologize. Right. And so at some point, people are going to go, you fucking idiot. You're getting a brand new car that you're driving around Branson now.
So, well, I also think that people are like, the consumer on social media is starting to wise up. Just like I always do this, like you go to Yelp and you see like people bitching about a restaurant, and then you go to their profile and see where they like all the other places they posted at. Well, they haven't had a good meal in 3 years. Yeah. People are getting wise to see like, okay, well, this person bitches about everything.
And they must be a crappy cook, or their wife is, because they're eating out a lot.
Yeah, someone get this man a cheeseburger.
Yeah, so I mean, I think people are getting wise to that too. Like they don't take every comment that they see to heart. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I just think that, like, especially in the automotive situation, like there's just so much negativity towards these dealerships. And listen, I mean, things go wrong. It's business, Well,
I think you have to understand though too that we as a company have fired clients that their company culture and how they did business was so far off that I couldn't even create solid social media content for them without that hate going on. Yeah. Like I was literally putting out fires so much that I was like, this isn't worth it. You need a fix from the top down. Yeah. And so you need to find somebody else to do, because I'm not doing this. I mean, and there would be one guy that literally would copy and paste on every one of my posts, whatever he had to say, blah, 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 blah. Like he would just malign everything. And I'm banning people, blocking people, hiding their comments. I'm spending all day long doing that. It was not worth it.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like if you go onto these, like onto a post and you start.
Look at Matt found his voice.
Yeah, you start deleting people's comments.
And here's another thing.
You start deleting people's comments, like that just creates a rage of the comebacks.
Oh, and I'm going to tell you. And so we've we've screwed this up too. So I have a client right now that owns it's a drive-through drink business, right? Like energy teas or whatever, right?
Mm.
So there was a kid who was in an accident, and the local pizza place was raising money for him. And so this client of mine wanted to do that too. And so a portion of all of the sales on this one day were going to go towards this kid as well. We may have made that post for them. They told us what they wanted. We made the post for them. And then, but there was no deadline on it. Like, right. Like, well, it's going to be on this Saturday. Right. But nobody ever came back and said how much money they collected and made a post about that. And so this guy gets on there and he's like, yeah, this is all just bull crap. Like, they're not even giving the money to anybody, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
it's a scam. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it got brought to my attention as like, oh, hey, well, I guess we did kind of forget to come back and go, hey, how much money did you guys collect? How is that going to get handed out? What is the rest of this story? And that was us just missing that part of it. Because we have two parts to our business. We either create organic content for them, lead gen as well. And then we have another part, which is our elite response team. And our elite response team is in charge of all of the communication with every dealer. Like, that's their only job. They don't post anything. They don't do anything. They're just commenting back and forth. They're grabbing, if people mad, they're grabbing that, putting it where it belongs, getting the answer back for them. That's just their job, is just to sit in Facebook and Instagram all day long and communicate back and forth. And so we don't do ERT for them. So it kind of got missed until Shasta had said, hey, this guy's kind of pissed. I think he's kind of a hater out there, whatever. And so I said, just go ahead and block him for right now. Hide his comment is what I said. Hide his comment for right now till I can find out what's going on, because sometimes it'll start a shitstorm and 75 people will be on there before I can stop it.
Right.
And so, so I said, hide his comment and let me find out what's going on. And so he screenshots it, went, look at these sons of bitches, hid my comment they removed my comment. And I was like, okay, well, that wasn't the purpose, but it was just a delay tactic till I could go get some answers done. But I got called out for it, and I'm like, ugh.
Well, I think it's a little contradictory too. Like when people say, "Oh, you can do good deeds without the camera being there," but then if you do, then there's no proof that you did the good deed. It's like, can we just pick one? Let's just pick one, and let's all go the same way. You know what I mean?
I always say this: mental illness is a real thing.
Yeah, it is. And
that's my solution to the person who's sitting there waiting for your response all day. There's people out there that are like that. They'll sit there all day, wait for you to respond to them.
Yeah.
Well, to your point too, I think that it's about being genuine and doing the right thing because you know it's the right thing. Right. You know what I mean? I think that's something I do and I've always done, and it's caused me to get taken advantage of and whatever, because I give people the benefit of the doubt, but I just can't help but not do the right thing because it just doesn't feel right, doesn't sit right with me, and I don't want that on my conscience.
Well, and there's some dealerships that'll go, we don't want to publicize the fact that we give back to this charity. We do it for the sake of charity. And I would say, yes, I understand that. However, you're bringing awareness to a cause that maybe other people would like to be involved in if they knew that there was this cause out there. Yep. And so you're really kind of lifting up their exposure. So why would you just slide them money under the table? Let's show people how they can give back too, because a lot of people want to, they just don't know how.
That's a great point.
And there's a way to doing that without looking slimy.
Don't use it as a sales tactic.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. The sleazy salesman, I had a really hard time getting out of that mindset when I first started doing this. I'm not selling snake oil. Once I figured out this is about solving people's problems that, I can't solve, there's problems that they have that they can't solve that I can, and vice versa.
Right.
And it's once I got into that mindset about genuinely just wanting to help people, that's when things start to really open up.
Well, but you think about this, and I hate that car salesmen have such a bad rap, because if you think about this, what is the biggest pain in the ass? You get up to leave for work in the morning and that car won't run. And now your whole day, you've got to refigure your whole day because your transportation is not reliable.
Yeah.
Like getting my kids to school, getting myself to work, picking up groceries, all the things that I planned on doing today now are all hindered because my transportation is not reliable, or I don't have one at all. And now I've got to figure out, how am I going to do X, Y, and Z? Yeah. So they solve our transportation problems for us and even overcome obstacles that we've built for them to have to solve. We're walking in with a 540 credit score going, okay, but I need my payment to be $399 a month because I really only make this much money, X, Y, Z. Okay, understood. However, I did not create this problem for you. So when you're mad because you walked out of a dealership with an $800 payment, It is because of your historical data
Right.
that you brought to the table, not because they ripped you off.
Right. I mean, in the end, you have to sign it and agree to it anyway. So it's at that point, you just have to take ownership for your part of it.
Yeah, and then you're mad. And then you're mad. You're mad. Are you mad because you didn't even pay your library fine?
Right.
I mean, that's how far down the ladder it went of the things that you didn't pay.
I also think that like now, like things are changing with the car dealerships too, that they're being a lot more transparent with the prices. Because 10 years ago, you walk into a car dealership, you had no clue what the hell anything cost.
Mm-hmm.
It was like going into the hospital to get a scrape.
That's how the recruiter got me into the military.
You just didn't know.
We didn't get no ice cream, not one.
You'd walk into a car dealership and there would be no price on the car. You have no idea what it cost, and they just say, "Hey, it's $30,000." Well, you go 2 blocks down the road, you might be able to get it for 20. And I think that's where the scumness.
I think that's because the communication between it's so easy to like let somebody know that they're, you know what I mean? Like they almost have to be, because we're going to find out anyway, because everybody can communicate.
Well, they can find out standing right there in the lot next to your car. They're literally going to pull it up online.
Right. They can find out that's okay.
Now, and then that's what I'm saying. That's the difference of 10 years ago. People weren't hip to that. And now you can do that. And I think that's where the bad rap came from.
Well, we've got about 4 minutes left here. Let's wrap up with all of the things we discussed about the auto industry. How do you think what you do really helps solve all these problems that we've discussed?
I would definitely say the type of creative that we make is we just like to have fun. That's where we're going to showcase a lot of our personality on our social medias. And it's like, we just want people to, to be able to show them their true selves to their customers. Cause that's what people want to do, is they want to connect with you. Mm-hmm. And we're very good at, just making people feel more personable and just fun and just, like making it feel like less of a job.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, with that, with them being a comedic side of things, it's just helping these companies, these brands get attention. Is it to be like 1-for-1 sale? Like one person watches a video and it's going to be a sale for that? No, but what it's doing is helping your brand get attention and continuously get attention, so you will get those sales.
We call it top of mind imaging, top of mind awareness, and brand imaging. And so really just kind of setting them out as who are these guys and giving them what their voice is. Because sometimes you'll ask a dealer what's their brand identity, and they're like, Chevy. Like, nope, that's what you sell is Chevys. That is not your brand identity. Who are you?
Right. And that's what I think, if people are willing, because outside looking in at us, we're kind of a risk, right? Because we're not going to push you to make the same stuff that everybody else is. We're going to push you to be different. We're going to push you to be who you are. Like, you know what I mean? And that scares people sometimes, but that's okay, because somebody will be willing to do it, and you're going to see how that they reap the benefits of that.
Okay, so if any of you guys are wanting to reach out to the Film Legends, I'm going to put all of their links down below in the show notes, so you guys will have access to them. Any of their socials that you want to follow, if they've gotten them up to snuff, that'll be good. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The mechanic's car never runs, and the cobbler's shoe has holes in it. And so we that work in social media, literally, we're like the last person that we serve. So just so that you know, if it's lacking, it's because we're busy serving our clients.
Just because I'm good at fantasy football doesn't mean I could start for the Rams. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Well, you might be able to.
That hurt. That actually hurt.
All right, guys, go out and make it a terrific week and create. Just remember that your life is content. Everything that you do is content. All that stuff that's in Matt's phone needs to come out, and it needs to be online so we can all see what he thinks about when he's decided to set a camera up. All right, Matt. Guys. Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
All right, guys, have a great week, and I will talk to you on the other side.
Thank you.